Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. It is so good to have you guys here. For those of you that are new, welcome. So happy to have you. And for those of you that are old hats and family, welcome back. So today's segment is going to be titled In the Clinic. And in this episode, I'll be asking you basically, is your check engine light on and you're ignoring it? Stick around. Which is basically, is your check engine light on and you've been ignoring it? I thought that this was a really good topic to start off with because in the current pandemic, I have seen a lot of people coming in who have really been neglecting themselves, neglecting their health care, and are looking for a primary care provider. So I thought it would be a good idea to introduce what is a primary care provider, why do you need a primary care provider, and how do you get one? So the first thing, what is a primary care provider? Primary care provider, or PCP, is literally anyone who can deliver care, such as a physician, nurse practitioner, or PA. Their focus is on generalized health of a person or a patient. Typically, I like to say a PCP is equivalent to a pediatrician for adults. That's kind of how I look at myself. Basically, the stuff that you would take your child to if you have any children, or niece, nephew, if they, you don't have children of your own. Anything you would think that a pediatrician would do, we basically kind of do for adults. Now, there has been some questions that I've gotten about what's the difference between a doctor, what's the difference between a nurse practitioner. Really and truly, it has to do with our type of training. That's it. My mother was a nurse practitioner, geriatric nurse practitioner for years. And she really could do pretty much anything that a physician could do if the law allowed her. So she was able to care for patients and take care of them, write prescriptions, manage their chronic illnesses. That's it. Now, I will say that there are definitely some things that I think nurse practitioners feel are out of their scope, which is where an internist kind of takes over. But the fact that you may be seeing a nurse practitioner doesn't mean that you're getting less care or substandard care. That's not the truth at all. It's literally just a difference of degrees. Okay? So finding a primary care provider, you want to find someone who will listen to you. You'll want to find someone who takes care of the things that you are worried about, but also is taking care of things that you may not think about and may not have on your radar, such as your chronic illnesses and screenings. So that brings us into why you should have a PCP. I would love to say that you can run on automatic and that you can keep on going without needing to get any kind of maintenance done. But really and truly, that's not how we're designed. That's not how our bodies are designed. We're like cars. We need routine maintenance and kind of tune-ups and check-ins every so often. Did I really just liken us to cars? Yeah, I kind of did. But it's true. Our bodies wear out, things change, situations change, and periodically we should get checked on. So for the healthiest person, I do recommend that you see your primary care doctor, primary care provider, nurse practitioner at least every year. Why? Because it gives us as providers a chance to check in and make sure things are okay. Things that you may not be thinking about. Are your vaccinations up to date? Screening wise, are you where you should be? Have there been any new illnesses that have crept up in your family that might change uh, your screening patterns? For example, if you have a family history of colon cancer, maybe you shouldn't get your colonoscopy at the age of 50. You might need to move that up to 40. Things change and evolve as life changes and evolves, and having a primary care provider will help you with that change. The other thing that we can help with is if for instance, you get sick, you can come to us and we can kind of guide you and help you through what you're going through. Not every cold is a cold. Not every flu is a flu. So having a primary care provider kind of in your back pocket that you can kind of talk to, ask questions about, and see when you don't feel your best is definitely the way to go. You don't want to start finding a mechanic. Yes, I'm doing the whole car analogy. When your car's engine light is on, you really want to know a good mechanic beforehand. So that way, when you take yourself or your car to that mechanic, you trust and know and have an established working relationship. So I would say how you can find a good primary care provider is ask your friends, ask around. Who are your friends seeing? If they're not seeing anybody, tell them they need to get someone and you're going to look for someone. And if you find someone before they do, you'll pass on the recommendation. But check around and see who you know that might be seeing a provider and see if they like their provider. If they don't, or they don't have a good relationship, I probably would say that may not be the provider for you, but you never know. To each his own. Another thing that I would say that you can try is using Google. Now, I know. You can't trust everything you read on Google. But there are some tools out there, such as Healthy Grades, Vitals, that some patients do actually fill out and give good feedback, whether it's positive or negative, about the provider. But I will say that you have to take everything that you read on the internet with a grain of salt. Some providers have a lot of bad reviews that are actually great providers. It's just the patients that are satisfied and happy, they don't think to fill out a questionnaire or to rate their provider. They're happy and they move on with their lives. But the patients that may not be happy or satisfied with their care may be the ones that are going to give them a negative rating. So it may be a little lopsided. So if you have a good personal recommendation and then you go on Google and you look and like, oh, but they only have 2 stars, trust your personal recommendation and try them out. You can actually try out providers. I'm sure that my colleagues are going to scream when I say this, but I do recommend that you try out providers and interview them. Now, it's going to cost you a copay. I'm not even going to lie. It is, but we're talking about your health. So Mommy. Checking out, hold on 1 minute. Yeah, boo. So I'm not exactly sure where I was. But I will say, if you have a personal recommendation, but they don't match up in Google, give them a try, okay? You can actually interview your providers. It likely will cost you a copay, and you'll probably be asked a lot of questions because the doctors are gonna wanna get as much good information from you as they can if you decide to select them as your personal care provider. But it's a good way to kind of meet, greet, and see what's going on. Another tool that you can use is to contact your insurance company. Your insurance company should have a list of all the providers that they are affiliated with, or that are affiliated with them, I should say, and may be able to steer you in the right direction. Apologize for the shake. Someone's acting out. But they should be able to steer you in the right direction and give you some good ideas and good tips and some good recommendations as well. Another way that you can find a primary care provider is if you're seeing a specialist, ask them if they have any recommendations. I know I've gotten a lot of referrals from patients of mine who were seeing their OBGYN, and the OBGYN said, you know, you need a primary care provider. Yeah, I can handle all the stuff that you need, but it probably would be a good idea for you to see a family medicine provider or an internist. and I got the referral. So that's another way, is to see a specialist. If you're seeing a specialist, is to ask them who they would recommend. So I think we've covered what is a PCP, why you should have one, and how you can find one. So stay tuned. There'll be another in the clinic coming up, probably in a month. If you have any questions, please leave comments down below. Any comments, please leave comments down below. And as always, like, subscribe, ring the bell, and share. See you guys in the next video. Smooches.